Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to my review for Get On Up. Made that title sound more badass than it is, because this movie is not an action film. No, it's not a Marvel film. There's no explosions here. This is a movie about the life of James Brown, of course, the godfather of funk, or soul, or whatever you want to say. This movie, I could not wait for, because, of course, I'm a fan of James Brown, I am. I don't know much about his life, so I was really looking forward to seeing what he was all about as a person. I knew he was a little crazy, but I wanted to know about his his past. So I was looking forward to it because of that. But I was mainly looking forward to it because the star of this film, Chadwick Boseman, I was hearing nothing but amazing things about his performance, and I thought he was terrific as Jackie Robinson in 42 last year, which was another one of my heroes. I wouldn't say James Brown is one of my heroes. I love his music, but Jackie Robinson was a hero of mine, personally, so I couldn't wait to see that, and he knocked it out of the park. He knocked it out of the park like Jackie Robinson with a home run, haha, but it's a pun, that's a baseball pun, but I'm just going to straight up tell you right here, before I even get to the review, he is phenomenal in this film. And I was pleasantly, not surprised, pleasantly happy, I guess, I don't know. I was just really happy to see him knock it out of the park once again with another historical black African-American man who really changed the foundation of, I guess, pop culture, I guess you could say, for James Brown. But, I couldn't wait to see this film. He knocked it out of the park, but is the movie itself good? Let's find out. Get On Up, of course, is the story of James Brown. I don't really need to explain it too much. I will tell you this, though. The movie is not a typical biopic where it starts from when he was younger, and then, of course, at the end, it starts when he's older. In the movie, it actually jumps around a lot, so, like, it'll be when he's, like, 19 or something like that, and then it'll jump to the next scene, and he's, like, 42 or something like that, and then the next scene will him being 25. It'll just keep jumping back and forth, and some people will find this a little confusing. For me, I actually found it to be very enjoyable, because it was like, okay, that scene ended, kind of like a little cliffhanger, then later on you'll get to find out what happens later. I found it to be enjoyable. I didn't find it to be too jarring, and I like what they did with it later on. I don't want to spoil it, but they did some cool things with it later on, where they kind of melded them together, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, the story is non-linear. I really like that. That's, you know, semi-new for biopics like this. I really enjoyed that. So it's not a typical biopic, but for the most part, it kind of still follows the same routine. I mean, you know where it's going to go. You see him in his kind of like downfall. You see little parts of that. You even see some of his drug abuse, which you don't see too much of. You actually just see a little snippet of it. You see him being a dick to his friends and his band kind of breaking up. It's pretty much like Jersey Boys, if you saw that movie that came out earlier this year. It's kind of like that. I mean, except it's non-linear, like I said. But, you know, it's just, it's a typical biopic, except it's not straightforward. It's non-linear, like I said. I keep saying that word. I like saying non-linear. Non-linear. So anyway, yeah, the story here is great, don't get me wrong, but it's not anything special. It's not. It really is. But really what makes this movie special is the performances. Like I said, Chadwick Boseman just got the mannerisms, the way James Brown talks, just the way he moves, the way he just looks at people, just the things he does, just the small little things that I know about James Brown are in this film, in his performance. And, you know, the other things I don't know much about James Brown, like him being crazy, taking shotguns to friggin' investor meetings or whatever the hell. I didn't know all about that. Just little things like that. Like, I've heard other critics say like he nailed it completely. So I'm just like, okay, good, he nailed it then. I'm not completely sure myself because I don't know James Brown that much, but I know the little mannerisms. Like whenever I see him play on stage, which I don't because he's dead, but well, yeah, you can watch videos of him playing on stage. And just little things like just the way he moves, the way he dances. Freaking Chadwick Boseman just nails it, just knocks it. Again, I keep saying this phrase, I keep saying knocks it out of the park, but he blew it away. He knocked it so far, it blew away. I don't know, whatever. He did a great job, but everybody else does a great job as well. Nelson Ellis plays Bobby Bird, who is his partner for the most of the film, and he's really good in this film as well. I don't remember him from any other movies recently, but he's really good, and I want to see him in more. Actually, I know he's in True Blood, but that's about it. Dan Aykroyd shows up, and he is great in this film. Whenever him and Chadwick Boseman are on screen, they both have really good you know, they play off each other very well, and it makes sense that Dan Aykroyd would be in this, thing that he was in Blues Brothers, he loves blues, and hell, friggin' in Blues Brothers, the original, friggin' James Brown was in that film, so it makes sense that Dan Aykroyd would come to this and act in it. Everybody else does a great job as well. Yeah, just really good acting all together. Viola Davis, Octavia Spencer, even though they're both barely in it, they're still really great in their small roles. So overall, the acting is fantastic here. The story is still great, even though it's, you know, pretty generic besides the non-linear style. But it's still fairly familiar, but it's still great because it is based on his, you know, his life. And I did understand who he was as a person by the end, so that was good. And while you do get to know a lot about him in this film, James Brown, of course I'm talking about, you get to know his past, why he might have been a kind of a dick to people and stuff. You get to know all that. But what I really loved about this film, and this is kind of going with the acting a little bit, is the musical numbers. It's so good when it gets to the musical numbers. The way they're staged, the choreography, the music, of course. I mean, it's James Brown music. But again, I have to give Chadwick Boseman kudos here, because there's actors out there. I'm just going to give an example, like probably Mark Wahlberg from the last Transformers movie, where I wouldn't say he slept walk through the film, but he was playing Mark Wahlberg, let's be honest. He plays the same character he always plays. And I'm going to guess he probably got paid like 40, 50 million for that film. I'm just going to guess. He probably 40, 50 million. Chadwick Boseman probably did not get paid that much. Hell, the budget of this film is even $50 million, so he definitely didn't get paid that much for this film. He gives it his all. He is an actor that is not after the money. I mean, of course he wants to get paid, but he is going to put honest to God effort into this role. He wants to play James Brown, obviously. He wants to be an actor. He wants people to remember him as the guy that played James Brown excellently, who played, I was about to say 42. He played 42 very well. No, he played Jackie Robinson excellently. He's just an excellent actor, and he wasn't one of those money-hungry guys that would just be in all these movies, all these big-budget movies, and just sleepwalk through it. He gives honest to God effort. Every actor in this film does. In this film, at least. Dan Aykroyd, I know. He's in a shit ton of movies where he's just like, oh, I'll just be here, I'm Dan Aykroyd. Like Tammy he was in. He was just like, yeah, I'm just Dan Aykroyd. Whatever, I'll just collect the money, thank you. But he is great in this film as well. But really, Chadwick Boseman, he just nails it with the musical numbers, the way his voice is, just the way he dances and stuff. He gave it his all. He put effort. So much effort into it. And don't get me wrong, there are tons of actors that do that. But I really have to give him credit. This is his third movie. Third one. Not his fourth one, this is his third one. Okay? And Draft Day was, that was a pretty small role. So this is his second major role. Really, major role, where he actually plays the main character. And he, again, I could say it again, he knocked it out of the park. I love this film. Musical numbers, the story, the acting, especially Chadwick Boseman, who gives probably the best performances this year so far. And yes, that's saying a lot. I love this film. I'm giving this a 34 out of 40. I highly recommend everybody go check it out. You might get a little confused with the non-linear story, but it is a terrific biopic that sure could be familiar at times and doesn't examine a lot of the stuff that you would expect it to examine, which I kind of like. Like the drug abuse, they don't even talk about that much, which they do a lot in Ray and Walk the Line. So I kind of like that they didn't discuss that too much, but still, it's kind of missing here. I would have liked to at least see a little bit more of the drug abuse stuff, just a little bit more. But still, maybe that's just shears away from, I don't know, whatever. I still like this film a lot. I loved it. I really did. And Chadwick Boseman, kudos. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, Gore has a new crush. No, I have a crush. I have a crush on good acting. And that motherfucker is a good actor. So I have a crush on his acting abilities. Okay? So you shut up. Alright? I'm done. I'm done with this review. I'm done. Go see the film.